So, as we know, Big Papa Fascist is a huge piece of shit, and he recently went on Fresh and Fit. Unchallenged, mind you. So, it's literally just him and the bros sitting around in a very not gay circle jerk. But anyway, this thing is like an hour and a half, and I'm not going to watch it all because I would go crazy.
And there is some kind of integrity to that, that when you meet a man who has tons of virtue, you'll follow him off a building, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that, keeping virtue intact is another thing which in Western society we should be pushing towards.
Understandable.
Even from a secular framework, that seems to be more optimal. You know what I mean?
Understandable.
I mean, this guy doesn't actually believe practice what he preaches, because if he truly believed in that, he would Roblox himself. Like if he was actually morally consistent. So that's the first hypocrisy, the first cinema sin.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's obviously ideal. I just think with the way things are, for a guy to be able to find that virtuous woman, he's got to deal with some women that aren't virtuous, and the only way he's going to do that is through experience. I'm looking at it more from like a preventative standpoint, where it's
again, the title of this is, should men get a 50 lay count? Like, should men sleep with 50 women before, I guess, settling down or some dumb. So they're of course arguing, yeah, you should. But now he's over here complaining that, well, even if you're a virtuous guy, I mean, you're going to have to deal with people that aren't virtuous, women that aren't virtuous. No, they don't. They could just not go off and sleep with like 50 people. They wouldn't have to deal with non-virtuous people then. They could just be more selective. What do you mean? Every time I review Fresh and Fit, they create the problem and then complain about the problem.
If women weren't the way they are now, I would tell guys, stay virgin.
Yeah.
Like, wait, man, like, exercise that discipline. But nowadays, with just the way women are, it's like you almost get punished for being that nice guy and being extremely virtuous and nice to these girls, because
oh no, this is the I held the door for the woman, so she owes me a blowjob thing. Does he not realize how entitled that is, though? That he's like, men are punished for being virtuous, as in what? Women don't want to go out with them? Or again, actual genuine virtuous people are not usually punished for being virtuous. If you're talking about nice guys, again, I've said it before, but it's because nice guys, the actual like nice guy stereotype, they're weaselly simps that just say whatever they think you want to hear because they're desperate and gross and pervy, and they also instantly become not nice guys the minute they're rejected.
They don't reward that anymore. Like, chivalry is dead, and I genuinely think modern day women killed it. So it's like, though I think that's optimal and the best way to go about it, I just don't think it's practical or pragmatic in today's day and age. Is my only issue.
Well, I mean, the problem is there's a lot of truth in what you say.
Wait, modern day women made me be a man-ho? What? This guy could like run a red light and be like, I bet it was designed by a woman. It was faulty. The timer was probably broken. Like, everything that happens to him, I feel like he just blames on a woman.
And so, I'm a firm believer in accepting what is objective reality. It is objective reality that promiscuity inside of Western nations is now out of control, to the point where reining it back in seems like almost a fool's errand.
This is what I don't... They're like, promiscuity's going up. Men are more lonely and having less sex.
And then say, we all need to be promiscuous and sleep with 50 women before we get notorious.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing, too, is like promiscuity's out of control. So just keep being promiscuous.
But I also think that if we can provide any pushback to move it the right direction, we should.
Yeah. I mean, and now I'm actually like, brainstorming here how we would do that.
Uh-oh. Big Daddy Fascist pushing back on Fresh and Fit. He just said, he's like, well, I actually think we should decrease that. So he definitely disagrees with the notion that like men should be sleeping around a bunch, obviously, because he's very traditionalist.
The only way we would do it is, you would have to make a religious state to do it, because frankly,
at least give a religious option. Right? And let the religious govern as synergy. So the nations of old had a synergistic relationship.
Yeah.
It was not that the state was run by the church, just that the state worked with the church.
Like what? So the church should be involved in making laws? So the church that arbitrarily, because Sky Daddy says gay bad, that now the church thinks being gay is bad. So what? The church should then work with the state to do what? Outlaw homosexuality? Create policy that goes... maybe prohibits gay people from adopting. There are all kinds of ways in which this would obviously lead to a net harm on like minority groups that are otherwise doing a benefit for society.
Yeah.
But again, like, one, Christians don't actually care about that at all because they care more about Jesus. And two, the notion that in order to reduce promiscuity, you need to go back to a religious state is mind-numbingly stupid. The reason people were less promiscuous in religious states was because they were like oppressed into that. They had no choice. If a woman had a child out of wedlock, she was like the town witch whore and would be fucking burned at the stake or whatever. But yeah, no, it's something that would need to be a personal thing. Like, someone would need to personally come to the conclusion as to, like, this is why I don't think this behavior is a good idea. Not, oh, well, if I do it, then, I'm going to be stoned. And not the fun kind of stoned.
Well, not a separation. I think, though, that we should not necessarily live in a state which is controlled by the church, but has a synergistic relationship.
Okay.
Your population needs to have some moral foundation, right? You can't have people who, even patriotism itself used to be a big deal in the United States, right?
Yeah.
That was a unifying force. So there's all kinds of propaganda towards patriotism, right? It was everywhere. Yeah. There was American flags, and, the patriotic messaging was everywhere. And it's a subtle form of...
What? I literally can't even go outside without seeing, like, 50 American flags.
Religion does the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can push any kind of synergy with the church, you don't have to make the...
But how would we get the young people to do that? Because my thing is, so I see your perspective and I see your vision. I agree with you that religion absolutely curbs a lot of this bullshit. The problem is, how are you going to get the young people to accept it? Like, how are you going to get the young people to
the same way that the leftists did it?
Okay.
Through moving through institutions as quickly as we possibly can and adjusting our propaganda at the national level. The propaganda I want to see at the national level sounds like this. Get married young. Have 1 million children because we're going to tax exempt you from life. For life. You'll be tax exempt for life. 3 kids, right? We're going to make it really hard for you to get a divorce.
Why would you be tax exempt for life? Like, that would be such a massive blow to the economy. I do agree providing money to people for raising kids is good. Obviously, yes, there should be incentives there if you have kids. And there already are. Like, even during the COVID times, like, you would be eligible for more benefits or more payouts or whatever if you had kids. Or
that's
dependents.
why you have kids.
Right there. Amen.
We don't need to anymore because our job is to push towards the health and welfare of the United States. And this is no longer healthy for the United States to have marriage through the state. It has become so bad that people who enter it, your likelihood of exiting clean is almost 0%, right?
Yeah.
So
impossible.
You can do the same thing. You can have national rhetoric, national brainwashing campaigns, right? Just the other direction. Now, brainwashing has a negative connotation.
So how are you going to override? And this is just like, I genuinely want to get your opinion on this. How do we override the Cardi B's, the Sexy Reds, the ridiculous music, the ridiculous social media addiction that a lot of young people have, the TikTok?
So, yeah, for those of you who don't know, Sexy Red is this new rapper, I guess. I literally have only heard of her from other conservatives that are, like, bitching about it.
Muslims engage. What I've noticed about Muslims is they engage. They engage in ideology, man. They engage in political prescriptions, and they're in your face about it.
Dude, 9/11, I'm telling you, man, Muslims engage. They know how to get their religion in your face, bro. He's sounding so yikesy here.
Christians have become soft and too nice. We have adopted Christianity to be a be nice religion, and it never was a be nice religion.
It's passive.
It's supposed to be a get in your face religion. I'd like to see more Christians actually move into the political space, like I have. You even see guys like Fuentes did this. They move into the political space and they fight that way. They push back using Christianity ideologically through politics, and that's become very popular. Suddenly it starts picking up steam. You start hearing about things like Christian nationalism. You start hearing about Christian hierarchies and all these different ideas, not because we're having obscure theological debates, but because we're getting in your face politically.
I love that he's bringing up Fuentes of all the people. You start hearing all these things. You start hearing about Christian nationalism. Yeah, most people aren't too thrilled about that one, homie.
We're saying no, Christians aren't passive. No, Christians aren't sissies. No, Christians aren't supposed to just sit there while secularists rule us.
Christians are absolutely sissies, by the way.
That is a huge misinterpretation that people have, that secularists are somehow better off having power than the religious. That's insane. Secularists are not good at wielding power. They have no moral grounding from which to wield it. So if we really want to see change, instead of trying to get into Christian apologetics in order to have theological debates and theological discussions, get into Christian politics and go get in their face. And that, I think, will have more of a result in society than people can imagine. Is it going to happen overnight? No. Is it going to be cross-generational? Yeah. But I'd rather see people push that direction.
Okay. And you had mentioned earlier...
Just what we need, more Christians up in our face annoying us. turn or burn, oh, turn or burn.
that you don't foresee this happening like in our generation, or when do you foresee this like happening? Because
It took the left about 3 generations to completely
Also, him
infiltrate
saying,
all
that's
of
right,
our
I wanted to
institutions.
address him saying that secularists or something don't make good societies. America is a successful secular nation. And also, 2 things. One, you don't need like a religious moral foundation for a society to function. When other people thrive and do well, that usually has benefits for everybody else as well. So like if you do things to intentionally harm other people, well, you're obviously risking your own well-being. With this kind of a principle, it's pretty easy to establish a general guiding moral foundation. And these things are incredibly successful. Even more so if you look at like the Nordic countries. I bring them up a lot because they have a huge proportion of people that are religious, and those countries are thriving. They're doing phenomenal. They have a better economy. People over there have more economic mobility. People over there have better health. People over there have more life satisfaction and happiness and overall well-being. And there's less religion there. That's a secular area. So like he just does not know what he's talking about, or he does know and he's intentionally lying, which is what I think he's doing because he's a sack of shit.
are people going to because I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Personally, I think it's going to continue to get even.
Yep.
I think women are going to continue to be even. I think it's going to be like right now. It's cool to be a sex worker as a chick. Like you got young people nowadays, right? Yeah, boys and girls saying, "I want to be an influencer." Right? For the girls, I want to be an influencer that's sexualizing myself. For the guys, they want to be a moronic idiot that's on Twitch running around doing stupid shit. So it's like it's the youth is like just
Not every girl that wants to be an influencer is like, I'm going to be an influencer, and so I need to sexualize myself. Like, what?
you compound that with the music, with TikTok, with with the pornography, the ubiquitousness of ubiquity of
Subversion's
pornography.
everywhere.
It's fucking crazy. So it's like I look at it like fuck. Like okay, how's the guy gonna navigate this nowadays? Like religion ain't gonna save you
How's
from
a man going to navigate TikTok, bro?
these hoes right now. Maybe in like you said, in 2 to 3 generations.
But
Well,
you know
yeah,
what saves men though? A mission.
absolutely, I agree.
What saves men is a mission.
Yeah.
And if you give men a direction and they know that they're collectively working towards that mission, man, it's incredible how much men can achieve even with a small collective and a mission and an ideology.
I agree.
And that's why I'm like,
Okay, so this isn't entirely incorrect, actually. Like, there is general evidence to suggest that, like, males, I guess, on average, prefer or do better in, like, groups or stuff like this. Even if this were the case, he's inserting his own ideology here by saying that, well, also, see, it's amazing what men can do when they work together. Okay, well, it's amazing what people can do when they work together is the first thing, really, because ultimately humans are where we are because of our ability to cooperate with one another. So that's the first thing. But second of all, that might be true that like people work well in teams or teamwork, whatever, impressive. Okay, cool. He's inserting the thing that they have to have like the unifying ideology. Maybe like a unifying goal, but that unifying goal could be like make a lot of money, have a successful corporate meeting. Have like, what do you like? There's so many things you could do besides like, I need to have this religious thing like guiding me in order to what? Feel like a man? It's so cringe.
push that. Well, for me, you know what I mean? I'm going to push that. I'm going to push that direction. And it's been so successful in days past. And we've just forgotten we have our own institution too, the church. We have our own institutional power. And that type of thing, I think, has more of a value to general society than any other single thing men could be doing.
Yeah, I mean,
Hold on. I have a question for you, bro, because I've listened this whole time.
Yeah.
I believe you're on the right track here, 100%. But I also come from a Christian background.
Yeah.
I believe what you're saying is true, 100%. Only the issue here is that, like, the church itself is not at fault, you know? I think the church itself is wayward. It's gone all the way left. Now, granted, how do you fix the issue at hand? It starts with the church. But the Pope himself...
Again, I'm going to bring up that white evangelicals are the least accepting of gay people in the country. How have churches gone left? Nowadays, you can't even call women hoes and whores in the congregation.
Other pastors that are funded by the government themselves are all to the left. How do you fix that?
I'll explain. You are correct, especially in Catholicism, this is true. But you know what's interesting about the Catholic Church, and I'm an Orthodox myself, not Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting is you have, for the first time in an organization that I've seen, which is involved in politics, You have top-down instead of bottom-up corruption. Usually it's corruption from the bottom, which goes up to the top, and then the top stays corrupt, right? In this case, a lot of Catholics are base, man. I mean, they're pretty awesome. They're the grounding foundation of Catholicism. They're the money givers. They're the tithers.
Yeah.
They're the people who are making the Catholic Church possible to begin with. And it's like, it's really easy to go to those people and say, stop tithing. Stop tithing if they're going to go towards this, this type of agenda. Stop feeding the money to them. That's how you get at Catholicism, because the bottom's not corrupt. The top is corrupt. You can go for the clergy, and the clergy can vote with their wallet. And man, if you starve an institution of money, what happens, right? That's what they do to creators, right? They don't like what you say, they starve you of money, and that shuts you up. And it's the same thing with any organization. It's the same thing within Orthodoxy. It's the same thing within Protestantism. Cut off the money supply until they reform to what they're supposed to be.
So first of all, I thought these guys are like scared of mob rule. I guess it's okay when it's some things. I don't understand either. Like, what do you want changed? What do you mean that the Catholic, first of all, when he says a lot of Catholics are based, I think he means because there is some overlap I've noticed with like neo-Nazis and Catholics. So that's probably what he means when he says based.
Good man.
No, well, I mean, you did say it's a multi-generational thing, which I think, it's gonna take a while. It's just that I think, like, with the way things are now, us being in a secular society, etc. And I know you disagree with me on the 50 body count, which is totally fine. I think that's important for you to be able to have a conversation with people that you disagree with.
Sure.
I think it's a viable strategy given the environment that we're.
All right, we're skipping ahead.
It and calling you a bigot and evil.
Yeah.
Bunch of women.
Yeah.
I can't believe you, Myron. How could you?
Yeah.
How, you're terrible about. You know what I mean? And it's like, what did you do?
Yeah. It's wild, and it's like the fact that advertisers are.
I like that. Like wherever I just happened to skip to the part where they're mocking women for being offended with the podcast that literally runs on calling women like incompetent by nature. Like they literally are like, female nature is to be incompetent and hyper emotional and all this shit. Like, and then they mock women for taking offense to that. Yeah, no shit, dude.
To take the risk and alienate the people that buy their shit to go ahead and appease females. It proves that we live in a gynocentric society, and the advertisers know this, and that's what you look at the Super Bowl commercials. Literally, we were just in Vegas.
There's literally evidence to suggest right now that single moms, or actually just women with kids, not even single moms, just women with kids, are offered significantly less starting salary than men with kids. In fact, men without kids aren't even offered as much as men with kids, while women with kids were offered the least amount. So don't tell me we live in a gynocentric society when there are still massive strides to be made, even when we're talking about things like, yes, subconscious bias.
Commercials, they were all targeted towards females.
I mean, Patrick mentioned with companies ESG scores, so I get it is a losing battle for money, but at the same time, to keep relevant and stay in these circles, you got to play the game on their level.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me. I mean, like in my head, who was at the Bud Light meeting? Like, you know what, man, that's a good idea. Let's go ahead and shit on the guys that drink this shit, right? Which are, let's be honest, it's gonna be guys like you, Andrew.
Well, it was
right?
a female. that's what I used to like it. I used to like Bud Light,
right?
Yeah.
You know, like guys that drink Bud Light typically are American.
Wait, did I miss something about Bud Light? I kind of want to watch it now.
American guys between 18 all the way up into the 50s that are like America, like all that stuff. Like, and you're gonna go ahead and just like, let me put this fucking dude in here. Like,
Yeah, but who came up with it? A woman.
It was a woman. It was.
It was a woman.
It was.
She came up with the entire marketing strategy. And, you know, there's no escaping that's true, that it's all gynocentric based.
Yeah.
What is the Bud Light? Okay, I need to look it up. Okay, yeah, it's definitely this one because there's 23K dislikes and comments are turned off. Let's go ahead and see what these the strong masculine men are triggered by from TV. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Are you the Bud Light genie? Yeah. So we get wishes? It's my thing. Gimme.
80s metal hair.
Yes.
Filthy rich.
So filthy.
Invisible.
Predictable. Giant bicep. Big one.
A sweet ride.
You wish for a T-Rex.
Guilty.
Let's go to Super Bowl 58.
Now we're talking.
Wait. What? I'm confused. Where's the part where I'm supposed to take offense? Bud Light sales tumbled over the past year after a conservative media-led backlash to a sponsored social media post. The brand has been in crisis mode ever since, and the Super Bowl commercial is part of its effort to turn around perception. Okay, maybe they are just talking about the Mulvaney thing then. I don't even know.
Right? But
I think Gillette's commercial was run by a female.
yeah,
too.
but
Wait, it was an Instagram post? So there's just triggered for some reason. Okay.
look, I mean, one thing that was kind of nice was the Christian base of the nation. They boycotted Budweiser. They boycotted them.
All of them.
And it
yeah.
worked.
Yeah.
And they were like, wait a second. We have some power here that we forgot we had.
Yeah.
And that was nice to see.
Yeah.
And it's like, that kind of pushback, I'd like to see more of it.
Yeah.
The conservatives, I guess they realized they had that power, and what do? They don't want to let it go. That's why that last Bud Light commercial we just looked at had 23K dislikes and like 5 likes or something. Because
cancel culture.
yeah, because conservative cancel culture is just out of hand.
I just wish, because the problem is, I said this earlier, but it's like, the libs, man, they're just so much louder than the conservative people. But the conservatives, it's a silent majority, though. Like, if you're on X, right, and you look at, someone posts some stupid woke bullshit, the comments are like, you're a fucking idiot, stupid, blah, 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 etc. But it's like, where are these people in real life? Like, in real life, they're not the ones demonstrating and doing, they're doing peaceful protests. But what gets on the news? The fucking liberals going crazy in Minneapolis, right? It's just that, they just have more camp time. They control the media, right? They're in the media more. It's just, yeah.
They have another
They're
advantage
infiltrated.
that is often not thought about. Mentally ill people are entertaining. Mentally ill people, they're super fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Mentally ill people are entertaining. There's a reason why these fuckwits are so famous. Exactly. Big Papa Fascist, Fresh and Fit. You gotta hand it to him there.
And progressives all over the internet who are highly mentally ill, right? They're fun to watch and laugh at and, make fun of and this kind of thing. Conservatives come on. We haven't had a good conservative voice like Rush Limbaugh, right? Come around, that kind of once in a generation voice who's super entertaining and informative in, the whole package deal. Yeah. It's harder because they have to go.
Rush Limbaugh. Yeah, speaking of the whole package, didn't he smoke one too many packages of the cigs, and that's where the cancer got him?
Being highly entertaining, yes, it's a skill all in itself.
Yeah.
And most on our side, a lot of them don't have it because they're not emotionally unstable lunatics.
What's going to get more views?
That's
a
right.
feminist in red hair screaming like, ah!
Yep.
Or a guy eloquently explaining the difference between men and women biologically. Well, people are going to go ahead and look at the...
Don't you guys still make memes about the one feminist that went back in 2012? Isn't Matt Walsh going on massive TV shows, Dr. Phil doing huge documentaries about what is a woman all the time? Matt Walsh is so much more popular than all the screeching feminists. Why are you making a comparison that actually just doesn't help you?
Yeah. I share I'm not immune. I'm like, man, look at this crazy bitch. Look at this shit this chick is doing, right?
Yeah.
And my buddy will send it back and go, what the and it goes viral.
Yeah.
But it is entertaining, and mentally ill people are entertaining, and the left is filled to the brim with them. I mean, it's just overloaded.
They brag about that.
Oh yeah, they love it. I've seen my psychiatrist and psychologist 8 times this week. You know what I mean? They love it. They're all on something.
Dude, you would really benefit from seeing a psychiatrist once. Actually, what it is, by the way, is not that liberals are more mentally ill, because there are stats that suggest that, and a lot of the times conservatives try to lean on that. But what those stats really show are actually that liberals are simply more likely to report having mental illness and are more likely to seek help and treatment for mental illness. So actually, there are similar rates of mental illness on both sides of the political side, whether you're a liberal or conservative. It's actually the conservatives that are dealing with all the undiagnosed schizophrenia and all sorts of the other mental illnesses. That's why they're all the fucking crazy people. That's why they're psychotic. That's why this guy's up here jerking off his homies about Christian nationalism.
Crazy.
Remember when, maybe I'm showing my age with this one, but remember, it used to be negative to go see a shrink?
Yeah.
Do they even call them shrinks anymore? It used to be wait, you went to go see a psychiatrist? You went to go see a therapist? What the fuck is wrong with you, pussy?
So the era in which that was the commonplace to shame people for having mental health struggles and seeking help for that was also the time in which men were alcoholic, abusive pieces of shit that would take their suppressed rage out on their unsuspecting wife because she didn't get the meatloaf done in time. I'm so confused as to how these dipshits can actually be sitting here and advocating for something that just makes the world worse.
All bragging about their degrees. I have a degree in sociology. They all, by the way, have a degree in sociology. Everyone. I haven't met one yet that doesn't have a degree in sociology.
I don't have a degree in sociology.
And they love it. They think it's great because they think it's a form of manipulation. They think that they're going to school to learn how to manipulate people and their emotions and their machinations better. That's why they do it. That's why that's appealing to women to move towards sociological fields. That's why you see them.
They're crazy going to the psychiatrist and all like, oh, I'm just blah, 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 unhinged. And then they're like, but also, I'm going to commit myself to 4 years at least to get a bachelor's degree in this thing so I can further manipulate the human race. I think this is bullshit. I think you're lost, my friend. It's actually very funny watching Big Papa Fascist do one of the fascistic things, the 14 points of fascism. One of them is how the enemy is simultaneously strong and weak at the same exact time. And they do this all the fucking time with liberals, where they talk about them as if they're simultaneously these weak, mentally ill degenerates who are just going to the psychiatrist all day, but they're also incredibly maniacal and want to manipulate people, and they're weaponizing and taking over all the institutions and brainwashing our kids. It doesn't make any sense. Which one is it? That's part of fascism. That's part of fascistic rhetoric. So it's actually really ironic that we're watching that take place here in real time, fresh from the horse's mouth. Big Papa Fascist.
Move towards sociological fields. That's why you see them move towards it, because it's a subtle form of manipulation.
Jordan Peterson's
you got pastors
his
sending
title.
people that are married to psychiatrists. That's crazy.
That is why. No, I mean, it's really an interesting time to be alive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like we're old enough to remember.
I shouldn't exist right now. I should be in a factory. You know what I mean? It's like
Maybe not the factory, but as far as you shouldn't exist right now, I mean, yeah. Hey, I mean, you said it.
the fact that there's so many more coming.
Yeah.
Right. They're just tired of it, dude.
It used to be like shameful to say, I'm going to go see my psychiatrist or I'm going to go see a therapist or something. Like, it used to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, man up, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But now it's like a flex, like, yeah, I'm on it.
What did that look like, man? What did manning up, bitch, look like? It looked like kicking back like 5 shots and beating the shit out of your wife. This is so stupid. Also, they talk about men being lonely. They talk about men's suicide rates. All of this is from emotional suppression. Emotional suppression contributes to more impulsivity. Men tend to be more impulsive. Impulsivity contributes to suicidality. When it comes to a depressive episode, men are more impulsive. They're more likely to just fucking pick up a gun or something and take a drastic measure right away. So you can't complain about men and male suicide and then simultaneously say you want to go back to a time in which men seeking help for mental health related issues, they were shamed for that. This does not make any sense.
Like,
well, my dad
we used to make fun of people. If you had to, like, I remember we used to make fun of kids. Wait, you take Ritalin? Fuck wrong with you? Like, we used to laugh at people for that shit. Oh, you need Adderall to focus? You're an idiot. Like, we used to roast people.
Oh, wow. Let's roast people for having a proven neurological condition.
Imagine literally doing that for people with epilepsy or diabetes.
Imagine just somebody with ADHD being like, oh yeah, I'm really distracted right now. Stop being such a fucking idiot. Man, that would really help, you know?
I agree with you, man. It's cool now to say I have, and let's be honest, like nowadays, right? Like the whole psychology board is like run by women. Like they stripped Jordan Peterson of his psychology credentials, and it's like
they stripped him of his credentials because he refused to go to a mandated ethics course on tweeting because he was out like just tweeting the most vicious, nasty bullshit.
Yeah, and women stripped him of that.
Yeah, and then literally they're saying women did that? I'm sorry. A second ago, you were saying it was on women to reward good behavior. Well, then on this case, my friend, it's also on women to punish bad behavior.
Describe you whatever. It's like, oh, you feel like you have issues with focusing, or you feel like you're crazy. Cool. Let's just give you these fucking drugs. It all, and then you
oh
know,
no, yeah, that's exactly how it goes. You know, in order to be diagnosed with ADHD, you certainly don't have to go through like a rigid screening process, then deal with like a bunch of loopholes or waiting times and everything else before you can get the medicine you need. Yeah, no, nothing like that. Nope, you just literally call up your doctor. In fact, it doesn't even need to be a doctor. You just have to tell somebody else. Just be like, hey, I sometimes can't focus. And then they will literally give you drugs. It's crazy, actually.
Get into the pharmaceutical industry, but it's like they're incentivized to tell you that you're crazy, right? So that they can make some money on it.
Well, who are pharmaceuticals going to advertise to? Who are the most prone to being advertised to? And so then you see
It's a vicious circle.
who
Oh,
happens to
they're
be on
saying
all
women, I guess. Again, I will always and forever laugh at these people when they say shit like this. Meanwhile, their podcast, Andrew Tate and other things, are brainwashing men everywhere. So women are the ones who are really susceptible to being advertised to, but their podcast is successfully advertising to a bunch of fucking brain dead men.
And you see
vicious circle.
who happens to be on all those drugs and the antipsychotics and the antidepressants and all of this. Well, same demographic who suffers from a way higher rate somehow than men do, even though men are the ones going through things which cause PTSD and they're going through wars and they're going through all this stuff. But somehow the mental illness is still higher on that side.
Men and women have pretty similar average scores when it comes to like anxiety and depression. I think women are only slightly like more depressed on average, statistically speaking.
Kind of makes you think, well, maybe they are marketing something towards a population demographic which is prone to propaganda.
Yeah. And wait, hold on. And they make money from giving these?
Stupid that they said that.
Yeah, when literally Andrew Tate and they are appealing to that. Even more so, we know that men, when they're feeling like really depressed or have lower self-esteem, are more susceptible to like radical ideals and extremism.
Wait!
Gajillions, right?
What? What the fuck? Hold on!
Oh yeah, also, thank you, Gaussian, for pointing that out. How did I miss that? He's making fun of drug users and he smokes like a fucking 100 cigs a day. That's right. This motherfucker smokes so many cigarettes. Every time I would debate him, he just had a cigarette in his hand.
True. All of them.
No way!
Yeah.
Dude, these fucking druggies. All right, I gotta take a little break for my smoke, yo.
Wow.
That's a good trend, though.
It's crazy, bro. Like, and you guys see the fucking circle. We just brought her all the way around, man.
Circle. He's talking
Yeah.
about the circle you're talking about.
He's talking about the circle jerk. All right, well, I'm avoiding watching any more of this circle jerk. Sorry.
If you want to support the channel, please consider becoming a member today. Members get early access to videos, access to all the stream VODs, and exclusive access to emotes as well. So if you'd like to support the channel, become a member today.